All right, let's dive into a project that's trying to solve one of the biggest, most annoying problems in crypto, actually using it. The project is called Tria, and they have a pretty huge goal to build a real, functional bank for this new blockchain era. So let me ask you something. Have you ever wished you could use your crypto just as easily as you swipe a debit card? Without feeling like you need a PhD in computer science? If you've ever tried to move your assets from one chain to another, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's not always that simple. And that's because, let's be honest, the on-chain experience can be a total nightmare. You're trying to figure out these confusing bridges, you get hit with unexpected gas fees that just, eat away at your money, you're juggling a dozen different wallets, and all the while, you have this constant fear that one wrong click could send your funds into the void. It's slow, it's frustrating, and it is a massive roadblock for crypto ever going truly mainstream. Well, this is precisely the problem Tria is designed to fix. Think of it as a whole new category of financial service, a Web3 neobank. The whole idea is to take all that messy, complicated stuff and hide it behind a super simple, clean interface. And here's the core of their big idea. Tria wants to give you that slick, easy-to-use experience you get from a modern banking app, but, and this is the important part, combine it with the most powerful principle of crypto, self-custody. So you get all the convenience without ever giving up control of your own assets. Okay, so how on earth do they pull this off? Let's get into the nitty-gritty of how the TRIA system actually works. It's actually a really clever design. It really all comes down to a two-layer system. What you see on top is the app. It's your self-custody neobank for spending, sending, and earning. But the real magic, the secret sauce, is what's happening underneath. A really powerful, smart routing engine. This slide shows exactly what they mean by intentions. You don't have to worry about bridges or which network you're on. You just tell the app what you want to do. For example, I want to send my Ethereum over to a Solana address. Tria's engine then figures out the absolute best way to do that across more than 200 blockchains and just makes it happen. It's all done for you in the background. And that engine has a name. It's called BestPath. The absolute best way to think about it is like a GPS for your money. I mean, when you're driving somewhere, you don't map out every single turn yourself, right? You just plug in the destination. BestPath does exactly that for your crypto, automatically finding the cheapest, fastest, and most efficient route every single time. Now, of course, like a lot of Web3 projects, there is a native token that helps power the whole system. So let's take a look at where the TRIA token fits into all of this. But first, a little bit of history. The whole idea for TRIA came from that frustration with how fragmented and disconnected all the different blockchains are. The project really launched into the public eye around 2025 with its token launch and listings on major exchanges, which brought in a lot of liquidity and attention. And today, the team's focus is squarely on real-world use cases, like their crypto Visa card, which, by the way, is already available in over 150 countries. Now, looking at the token itself, the very first thing you need to know is that the supply is capped at 10 billion TRIA. That's it. No more will ever be minted. And based on that supply, the project's market cap is currently sitting around $65 million. Now, of course, this number is going to jump around with the market, but it gives you a good sense of its current scale. Okay, now this tokenomics slide is really important. The team has been very deliberate about how these tokens are allocated. A massive 41% of the total supply is set aside for the community through things like incentive programs. The rest is split between the foundation, the ecosystem fund, and early backers. What this tells you is they are really focused on getting users to actually adopt and use the platform. And crucially, the TRIA token isn't just something to trade. It has real jobs to do inside the ecosystem. It's used to help coordinate that BestPath engine. It funds rewards and cashback for users, and in the future, it'll let you participate in governance. It also unlocks exclusive perks, like higher tiers for their cards. This comparison chart really puts TRIA into perspective. See, compared to a regular neobank from Web2, TRIA gives you self-custody. You and only you control your keys. But then, compared to a standard crypto wallet, TRIA automates that whole messy cross-chain process. It's basically trying to take the best of both worlds, the simple user experience from Web 2 and the core principle of self-ownership from Web 3. But, no project is a sure thing. To really get the full picture, we have to take a clear-eyed look at the challenges ahead and the different paths TRIA could take. TRIA is facing some pretty big hurdles. First off, there's the tech itself. That BestPath engine is only as powerful as the networks it can connect to, and it needs a ton of liquidity, basically enough money in the system to run smoothly. Then there's the competition, which is fierce. Lots of other projects are also trying to be the easy button for crypto. Plus, the whole business model depends on transaction volume. It needs a ton of active users to work. And, of course, the big one, regulatory uncertainty. The rules for this whole crypto banking world are still being figured out, and that's a huge risk. So that really lays out two very different futures. In the bull case, Tria's technology could become the new standard, leading to massive user adoption, global expansion, and maybe even partnerships with big institutions. But in the bear case, it could struggle to stand out, get outmaneuvered by competitors, or get bogged down by regulations, and just kind of remain a niche product. And that all leads us to the final, really big question here. Projects like Tria are making a huge bet that by hiding all the technical complexity, they can finally build that bridge for the next billion people to come into crypto. So what do you think? Is a self-custody Web3 neobank the key that finally unlocks crypto for everyone? Or will these amazing tools stay in the hands of a small tech-savvy group? That's really the multi-billion-dollar question, isn't it?